championship. Kevin has to feel so excited. I can only imagine what's going through his mind right now as he's back on the floor, the place he loves to be, hoping to find a way to lead his team back to that championship that they got 2 seasons ago.
There's a big question with this Cleveland team about where Shaquille O'Neal is going to fit in. You've talked to a lot of people, Doug. You've got your own thoughts. How is it going to start? Where do you think it's going to end?
Well, when you put Shaq on your team, obviously you put a very physically imposing player. We talked to Doc Rivers before the game. He said, you know, when LeBron goes to the basket, you've got to keep your body on Shaquille O'Neal. You cannot help. Otherwise, he's going to get a dunk and he's going to live on the offensive board. So it's just going to be interesting because the dynamics of your team change. So I think as we start this game tonight, Boston is more ready to start the season. This team they're starting tonight, Kevin, has played 109 games together over the last 2 years. They've won an NBA championship, and in those 109 games, they are 85-24. 2 new starters on Cleveland. I think they're going to be more a work in progress. They're going to have to really lean on their defense, and this home court's going to have to bring them a lot of energy tonight.
Our officials tonight, Steve Janvey, Tony Brothers, and Derek Richardson. They have been a story unto themselves. A lockout during the preseason. They're back tonight for the first time they've been on the floor. They had a conditioning and school this past weekend. They're ready to go, as are we. And welcome to another season of the NBA on TNT, the 26th year. And here is Mo Williams. There is no Delonte West tonight for the Cavaliers. Such an important part of this team. We'll talk about him and his condition a little bit later on. LeBron touches it for the first time. Rondo is on him. And Perkins works on Shaq. Shot clock at 2. Varejao.
So with Anderson Varejao, you cannot help off Shaq, but in Varejao, you can roam a little bit. So Kevin Garnett will really try to give a lot of help. If Varejao hits that shot, Cleveland's going to be very difficult to beat. Not normally going to knock in that 8 to 10 foot jump shot.
Good screen by Perkins. That opens up a shot for Allen. The rebound, the first for Shaquille O'Neal. LeBron for 2. Garnett was on him.
I watched LeBron before the game just for a few minutes. His shot really looks good. Chris Gent, the guy who works with him, is shooting coach. They spent all summer together traveling. And yes, LeBron did a lot of traveling, but he worked out every day. Really, consistency with his shooting is his #1 thing this year.
And there we see a nice move across the lane by Garnett. What do you hear about his knee and his physical condition?
I think he's fine. I think it's just going to get himself back into the season mentally and all. But Kevin Garnett, one of the things they lost with him last year is the ability to throw the ball in the post, too. They had to go to a speed game and a perimeter-oriented game without him.
Into Perkins, Varejao. So he's got a couple in so far.
Well, Kevin, I thought this game was going to be early jitters. Normally in a game like this, opening night, Kevin Garnett has said it's like going out on your first date. But these teams right now seem very composed right now and are shooting the ball well.
There's Parker, the alley-oop for LeBron. Weathering the early storm, a big part of what Boston's got to look at tonight.
That's what Doc Rivers told us before the game. He says, we cannot let them go on runs. Well, here they are starting out 8-2. Let's see if they can come down and get a good shot.
Perkins will try to set another screen. Here is Allen. Garnett's on top. Now the switch on defense as Varejao watches Ray. And there's a turnover. So take a look at the 2-time NBA Coach of the Year, Doc Rivers, on the Boston side, and Mike Brown, who was last season's Coach of the Year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Varejao fighting the defense inside of Perkins. There's no Glenn Davis on this team right now, at least. That is a developing story. More on that coming up, too, as Mo Williams fires, and it's now Mo struggled in the playoffs. He gets off to a nice start here.
Doc Rivers here is going to try to come down and get his team settled down. Normally when you do this, you try to get the ball into the post. The guy who really hasn't looked at the basket yet has been Paul Pierce, who's really their most dynamic scorer. When you look at Paul Pierce out there, too, he is in great shape. Doc Rivers said this is the best shape he's seen Paul Pierce in about 2 or 3 years. And you know, Paul knows they have a great chance again to win the championship. He likes the additions they've made coming off that bench. It's going to maybe cut into his minutes a little bit, keep him fresh where he doesn't always have to guard the other team's best offensive players. They hope that Marquise Daniels will be able to do that when he comes in off the bench a little bit.
Varejao picked up the foul. Garnett working on him here. And Shaq claims his second rebound.
Nice help from behind. Looked like LeBron maybe got a little piece of that shot.
Anthony Parker, a 3 over Allen. Anthony Parker, who averaged about 11 points a game a season ago for the Toronto Raptors, has helped Cleveland, Doug, start to a 6 of 7 display on the floor.
Well, so much for Cleveland being a work in progress. Everybody involved. Their defense has been terrific. Moving the basketball, shooting a high percentage. A wonderful start here for Cleveland.
And Cleveland an early 11-point lead. Let's take a look, Doug, at some of your keys tonight. The Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics.
Well, let's make this a little play here. The curtain rises tonight where there are going to be early jitters. Well, sure not for Cleveland. 6 of 7, 5 assists, off to a great start, 13-2. How about the new cast member, Shaq? We've talked about him going for his 5th title. He has 3 with Kobe, 1 with Wade. Like to get one with LeBron. And Rasheed Wallace, an NBA title with the Detroit Pistons, have played in 153 playoff games. Storylines, these two teams are the best 2 defensive teams in the league. And at the end of the night, the curtain call. Is it going to be LeBron, the reigning MVP, or is it going to be the return of KG and the Boston Celtics? Right now, Cleveland has to be ecstatic. Mike Brown, their coach, has to be so happy about the way they've come out of the gate here tonight.
Both with that refrain, defend the paint. You talk about both teams thriving on defense.
That's what wins for these teams. And last year, Cleveland was a much improved offensive team, and Boston's hoping to be that way this year. There's a nice block there by LeBron James, who was 2nd in the voting last year for the best defensive player in the league. That went to Dwight Howard. LeBron was a first-team all-defensive player.
He's got 2 blocks already. LeBron, Shaq draws the quick double. Adriano, he's hit a couple shots already from outside. Here he's inside. Garnett swats it away. 3-on-2. Rondo, Pierce. And he floats in right there, right into Parker.
That's what Doc Rivers wants. He wants more fast breaking, but the only way you can fast break if you're Boston is you got to get multiple defensive stops. That's the first time really they've done that. When you're shooting 6 of 7 like Cleveland is, you're going to be taking the ball out of the basket. There's not going to be running opportunities.
Now they get the basket here. They get set on defense on the other end.
Get multiple stops. That's the key to the Celtics. That's what triggers their runs.
It's Shaq over Perkins. Shaquille O'Neal has hit his first shot. What do you think about Rondo's game?
Well, he's so key to their team. Oh, beautiful play by Mo Williams, just snatching that pass out of the air.
It's Parker. And collides into Ray Allen, who got that little shot over his left eye there with an elbow in practice. 5 stitches up there. The foul goes on Ray Allen for the first time.
That's what Doc Rivers moments ago had to say to his team in the huddle.
Hey, number one, we got to get back. You knew they would come out on all cylinders. Got to weather the storm. But to me, we're not attacking right now. We're all playing slow, passive. Let's be more aggressive right here, guys, all right? Let's be more aggressive.
Veteran Boston team, if they understand those words, they'll sink in. Here is Anthony Parker at the line. We take a look at Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, all sacrificing some part of their game when they all came together a couple years ago.
And it worked. And I think that the thing with Kevin Garnett, he really came in and changed that culture. When he brought his defense, his energy, and what he brought to that team, he became the voice of that team on the back line of that defense, and he really became their personality.
It's Pierce, hacked away by Shaquille O'Neal. And foul called inside on Shaq for the first time.
You know, Kevin, again, when you play against Cleveland, and this is the attack mode that Doc Rivers had just talked about, Paul Pierce going to the basket, and there is Shaquille O'Neal that they called with a foul. The fans here not very happy with this call, but Shaq comes over, and that's what they want him to do, defend the paint. But both of these teams want to be teams where their defense creates some offense for them. When you look at the numbers, this team did not do a good job converting in the open court, in the paint, second chance points. And Paul Pierce has really struggled here against this team. You see what his numbers were here on the road against this team, and at home he was terrific. So he would like to change that tonight, but he's also playing against first-team all-defender LeBron James.
Pretty tough. Adriano screen into Shaq, and again through the double, and again he hits the shot from right underneath. He gives them something here in Cleveland, Doug, they've really not had before.
Well, you can throw that ball in the post, and you got to be careful.